Revolution. We have to experience revolutions. Whether we like it or not, we will, because we're on planet Earth. Gestalts happen, beginning, middle, and end. That's the process, the laws of nature. So, you want to be part of it? Revolution. When I was in a psychiatric hospital once as a patient, I've taught in them, I've worked in them, I've developed programs in them, and of course, like anything, you become your environment. You become the people you spend time with. So I became a patient. And the funniest thing I've ever known in psychiatry. So I used to equally have practices on Harley Street. What was they? 1, 2 and 10. And different practices around London. However, at number 2, I worked as a consultant for a clinic. And there was a day a new psychiatrist came to work with us. And apparently the director knew him and so on, long story. And he's very odd, funnily enough. And what I mean by that is awkward and narcissistic. I've told him all this. I never talk about someone behind their back. And I felt sorry for him. And I also thought, careful, because masochists attract narcissists. A client said to me once, Poppy, what's masochism? Is it hit me, but don't hurt yourself doing it? And I said, that is exactly what it is. So anyway, I can't remember what happened. But anyway, we went out for a drink, loads of us from work. And there were people at the bar from our group and in the bathroom and stuff. And it was just he and I at the table. And he said, Poppy, have you ever known the inside of a psychiatric hospital, like as a patient? And I said, you wouldn't be a very fucking good psychiatrist if you couldn't pick that up, mate. Oh. And then his phone rang. What the hell did it say? Wait a minute. I am your father. Was his phone ringtone. Like Darth Vader. As a psychiatrist. So his patients would call him and that's what would happen. And I'm like, okay, I'm not the only crazy in the village, clearly. Anyway, he ended up deferring, is that called that? To me, quite a bit. And we became quite, respectfully, very different people. However, he did a lot of what I said. I had about 15 years on him, experience-wise. Anyway, when I was in the psychiatric facility, one of them, and there was one, it was a 6-bedded hospital for dangerous people. And I had a tribunal. So this is not my first rodeo, let's put it that way. I had a tribunal, which was very difficult to get. However, I knew the inside of bullshit by that point. And why am I telling you this bit? Tribunal, it'll come back to me. However, okay. The head of the tribunal, whoever he is, said it's about 11 or 12 people in the room and me and I won't go into that right now. They said, why is she here? And I thought, shut up. I'm watching. Observe, not absorb. And there's silence. And he said, has anybody Googled this woman, seeing as she's saying she's a therapist and stuff? They said, I'm a fantasist, obsessive compulsive disorder, because I cleaned the fucking kitchen each day because it was grossly dirty. They brought a vicar in. Why did they bring him? Oh, because I was cleaning. Oh dear, you're so disturbed. I'm like, right, thank you. Has anybody Googled her? Because they said I was a compulsive liar. And I'm like, shut up. So the woman who had been the worst to me, that's not true, one of the worst, she was a trainee psychiatrist. He looked at her and said, would you go out and print out what it says on Google, if anything? They'd said, you're 20 years old. And I'm like, right, okay, whatever you think. I was about 29, 30, 31, something. It was insane. And they called me mad, right? So the woman came back into the room, and it was such fantastic wonderfulness that it was her who picked of everyone. She'd been such a mega C next Tuesday to me. So she comes back with like this printout, and he looks at it and he's like, okay, so I know your shoe size. And I thought that meant I know who you are. My shoe size was at that point on there because I did some modelling years ago. And he said, so she's a lecturer. She works in a school for, I'm mindful to say too much because it's going to sort of implicate people. And she has a practice on Harley Street and etc. Hello. That's so weird. I was saying I want a dog to come over to give me a sign of something, and here he is. Thanks, dog. That's okay. Where was I? Sorry. It's all right, my love. It's not a problem here. Quick. What was going on? Oh, so anyway, he goes, so she's a professional. And they're looking at me, and I just said nothing. Anyway, they let me go. Fucking finally. Such a long story. Why am I telling you this? Oh, so when I was in there, this 6-bedded, you're dangerous. Because he said, why is she here? And nobody could answer. Why is she a dangerous individual? Nobody could answer. They didn't know. They didn't have the staff to write the notes about why I was there, because I was transferred in a police van. There's about 3 people in the world that know what I did that got me in there. Anyway, they didn't know, so they let me out. I was pissed off about life and the way I was being treated and the way people are treated, so I acted out and got myself behind bars, basically. There was one day I wouldn't eat the food because it was such crap. No nutritional content in any of it, so I wouldn't eat it. So the nurse came by one day, psychiatric nurse, and she's like, eat your food, something like that. I don't do well with being told what to do, clearly. I said, no, I won't be eating it. Eat it! Something like this. It was a very long time ago. So what is this, nearly 20 years ago? And I said, no, I wanted to throw it, and I thought, the more you act out like you're gonna be here forever. That's what they said. You will never leave here. The average stay on the first place I was in was 6 years, I think, or 7 or 8 years. You'll never leave here, they said. Psychiatrists were saying this shit to me. I'm like, all right, keep telling me this, because it's like drives me. So I said, I'm not eating it. And there's a girl near me, she can hear. She said, I'm not eating it either. It doesn't have any nutritional content in it, she said, because she'd heard me say it. And then people started throwing the food, and I'm like, uh-oh. And the girl said, I forget this lady's name, it's a popolution. My name's Poppy. Oh, hello, maybe I haven't introduced myself. My name's Poppy. I am a psychotherapist, psychologist, coach, 30 years practice with all different kinds of people. I work for you exclusively. I'm unaffiliated, obviously. A revolution. And she said, it's a popolution. And my word, it stayed with me. Populution. It's a populution. And in fairness, you know, some of the behaviour was nuts. There's always context as to why people behave the way they behave. I'm sure you've had experiences where, you know, as a quick snapshot, it wouldn't have made sense, your behaviour, your words and so on, unless people had an insight into the stories about what had taken you to that place to be upset or to be defiant or to act out, to drink, to smoke, to have an affair. You know, there's a story behind it. A revolution is what's happening here, clearly. And unfortunately, with any kind of 360 change, there's a lot of damage. A lot of damage. And that's what's happening. And this page, obviously, well, not obviously, this page is here to support the revolution. And what I see is not, drama stuff, although that's happening when you, push against something. Things break, systems break down. I'm for peace. I'm pro-humans. Always my agenda here is informed consent. That any of us have the right to full and thorough information about our health so we can make choices about it. That's where I'm coming from. So none of that hit the radar in my profession. What hit the radar, you may or may not know, was I posted some memes on my private personal Facebook page, and it went from there. I have my part to play. However, it's been gross, and so this page is here to support people who are in the grossness of it all and anxious and overwhelmed and scared and feeling alone and worse. However, revolutions have to take place. And there's this term, canary in the coal mine. Do you know that? Where what it comes from is, my dad was a coal miner actually, and so was his dad, amongst other things, is canaries can smell, they've got very acute olfactory senses, they can smell if there's gases, the carbon dioxide, for example, monoxide, you get it, whatever. And so they'd send the canaries into the coal mines to see if it was safe from toxic fumes. And if they would come out or not come out distressed, it was dangerous. It was the clarion call of, this is not safe, people. So many of us are saying, the canaries are dead and dying. Don't go in there. And I was thinking this morning about Alcatraz. I don't know much about it. It just came as a word. I think when we start to be and connect with us, information comes in because we make room for it. It's not this chatter, anxious thinking, overwhelm, ego, fear, long-winded sentences, judgment, and all the things. When we start to calm and not take things personally and move from ego into our heart brain develops before the brain, and breathe and know and trust ourselves, we start to hear stuff. So I have had waves of, I hear and I feel, and it's the red flags and being really moved. So that's what the higher self does, the heart, is it will move you. It's the still soft voice that's very confident, doesn't need all the chatter to convince that the ego has, the fear has. It's just very simple. Do it, do not, etc. And I heard Alcatraz, which I think is the equivalent to, well, hell, I suppose. And I thought, yeah, that's what's driving me currently, revolution, is I feel like, not once, I've been to somewhere, I have to look it up, and I thought, I'm not going to, I'm just going with the intuitive because it came to me. I feel like I've been to Alcatraz many times, and war camps, and all kinds of hideous places. And my way of being now is, no one else is going there, thank you. Nobody. And I was thinking, that's lovely and romantic, probably. However, people are going to hell and so on. However, what I know happens to all of us, 3 decades I've been doing this stuff with all kinds of different people, from psychiatric populations to coaching elite athletes and so on, mindset and peak performance. A lot in between. We're in pain, obviously. We're going through our own revolutions, from not being conscious of what's happening to us and why, habits and disorders and OCD and PTSD and all the human things. And then if we choose, we start to get wise to it, and you can't do that alone, and we're very arrogant if we think we can. And of course, that's just a reaction. I don't want to feel the pain, I don't want to know, and so on. So we do it alone. We have a bit of coaching and a bit of this, and it's bullshit. We get to really pay attention to ourselves, take ourselves seriously, take our histories seriously, take the messages in the histories seriously, so that we can respect ourselves, hear ourselves, and do life on our terms in a kind and compassionate, revolutionary way. So what's my point? I'm here to support us coming back from war, going into war, being in war, so that we can find peaceful solutions to heal, support each other, send a shit ton of canaries globally, so that in the end, nobody can deny the risk and the dangers. Nobody, because there'll be dead fucking birds everywhere. You cannot not see it. It will be so many fucking canaries that it will be like Wizard of Oz, you know, the yellow brick road. The whole fucking planet will be the yellow brick road. And we'll all be on our way to meet the man behind the curtain. And my fantasy is the wizard, the man behind the curtain, is you. And it's me. And we've been pulling the levers on life from behind that curtain. And some of us, it will be a welcome surprise. I had the power all along, and I was running the show all along. All the good bits, all the not good bits. I was the villain and the victor and all the other characters in the play of our lives. Some of us will be pleasantly surprised. Some of us will celebrate. Some of us will be proud. Some of us will fucking laugh our head off. Some of us will be in shock forevermore. And some of us will be devastated because we realise we've been found out. And what those people do with it is obviously up to them. It reminds me of, was it in the 20s? Where the stock market crashed and lots of people killed themselves. I think a lot of people will not be able to tolerate what that means for their businesses. I know it's not that I want this, it's the revolution, it's what happens. Things fucking die. And things are born and come alive and so on. Survival of the fittest. And not in a, I'm a psychopath and I'll hurt you. Survival of the fittest. Survival of the fittest. The most adaptable, the most resilient, the strongest lives on, adapts to the surroundings and does a fucking good job of the rest of it. And some people cannot and will not. And they'll be so, and we are, so full of ego and fear that we don't see the opportunity in the devastation. And why would we? Because it's flipping horrible. And we're not taught any of this, which is just criminal in itself, that we're on planet Earth, a bipolar world, night, day, black, white, happy, sad, with humans, we're tribal, with all of the information from nature about revolutions and gestalts and birth and death and rebirth and so on, and we're not taught this so humans can understand. Because in my opinion there's a plan, obviously, not obviously, my assessment, you do you, I'll do me, obviously. Take what you want, leave what you don't. Some people will never have the insight to know they could do something good with it. And Bob Geldof is always and forever in my mind. And this is my assessment. I don't know what he would say to it. However, I think maybe he'd say, yeah, he's a creative, like us. Everybody's a creative. We get to decide, do we create, do we react, do we balance and, use both. He fed so many people and ignited so many people and saved so many people and set a path for so many people with his rage. His pain, obviously underneath rage is pain. He was so fucking enraged and disgusted by what we were all walking on by from, that he made the unbelievable and impossible happen again and again and again, despite his own human issues. So we can do the same, of course. So I'm here to support. Sending love.